Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We'll go through the timing and the threats for today coming up.
And bracing for the next hit, people in Edgecombe County cleaning up after 3 tornadoes in 2 days. How they're preparing for another possible round of severe weather today. And back open for business right now, Big Ed's restaurant in Raleigh has reopened its doors. It's planned to welcome customers back 3 days after a shooting on Mother's Day. One of many stories we are covering for you this morning on your Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey, and it is a WRAL Weather Alert Day, the 3rd in a row now. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner timing out the rain, and we could see some hail as well.
We saw some yesterday, and so the pattern will be the same. We should expect to see more of the same. We did see some sunshine right around lunchtime, and that tends to destabilize the atmosphere. All that sun's energy, we add that to what's happening here at the surface, and we see some storms developing, especially between 2 and 10 o'clock. Damaging winds would be our biggest threat. We've had radar indicated 2 to 5 inches of rain across our area, so with saturated ground, those trees could come down fairly easily, and of course, that level 1 threat is across our entire area. Starting to see a few more isolated showers pop up, especially across parts of Orange and Durham counties right now, in Moore County as well. So a couple sprinkles there showing up on Futurecast for us for the next couple of hours. We're not likely to see more widespread showers and thunderstorms, though, until we get closer to 2 or 3 this afternoon. There's 3 o'clock with some cells starting to develop, and those continue to slide eastward during the evening commute, and then eventually out of the viewing area off to the east by around 9 or 10 o'clock. We may have a few isolated storms behind it, but most of those will be, again, between, say, 2 or 3 and 9 or 10. Lots of cloud cover in downtown Raleigh right now, so we take a look past the legislative building. It's 67 degrees with a dew point of 64, so it feels warm and muggy as you step outside. We'll see highs in the low 80s for this afternoon. Starting tomorrow, it turns a lot hotter and more humid. We'll take a look at that coming up. Ken?
8:02, Elizabeth. Let's start on the southern loop of the Beltline because of this crash right now on I-40 westbound near South Saunders. It's causing quite a bit of a backup on that southern loop of the Beltline. As we widen out the view, you can see that backup stretches all the way back to Hammond Road. Here's what it looks like, courtesy of our live cam network. And right now, we've isolated that crash scene. It's off to the shoulder of the road, which is good news, and traffic is beginning to get through. So that's a plus there in the southern loop of the Beltline. As for the northern loop of the Beltline, here's what we're looking at. Well, traffic has really eased up quite a bit since we last spoke about 20 minutes ago, so that's good news. Let's check out some other routes coming into the capital city, shall we? You're looking at a 13-minute delay on I-87 coming in from Nightdale. That's actually getting better, to tell you the truth. 9 minutes if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. Over in the Bull City, very little to no delays if you're heading into the Bull City. I do want to isolate I-885. That's a major route in and out of Durham this morning. If you're heading into Durham and those northbound lanes, you're just looking at a 6-minute delay. If you're using I-885 to get to I-40 out of Durham, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the cartoonist and on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
All right, thank you, Ken. Elizabeth just told us about the severe risks on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. It comes as people in Edgecombe County are still cleaning up after 3 confirmed tornadoes there in the last 2 days. WRAL's Laura Levine is in Pine Tops this morning. And Laura, you were there 24 hours ago, right after the 2nd and 3rd tornadoes hit. You're showing us what the damage looks like today.
Today, there is still a lot of damage and debris that remains. Right now, we're standing on Old Wilson Road, where you can see this fairly large tree that toppled over some vehicles, now chopped up into several different pieces here. People who were mostly impacted by this tornado say that, well, they do have a little road to recovery that's underway. Here's a look at some of the crews cleaning up tree debris yesterday as they got a better scope of the damage from the tornado here in Pine Tops. Between Monday and yesterday morning, Edgecombe County saw 3 different EF1 tornadoes, according to the National Weather Service. With more storms on the way, there is some concern about the already saturated ground, coupled with high winds and rain that could bring down more trees, causing additional damage. Savannah Brooks tells us that she's thankful no one was hurt, but unsure of when her family will find that sense of stability once again.
Grateful and a little like, what are we going to do?
What are you going to do?
I have no idea. The Red Cross is, I guess, supposed to be in contact with us, so hopefully they can help us.
And that is the Brooks family on Gay Street whose home was significantly damaged by that tornado. Meanwhile, here on Old Wilson Road, we're going to continue to monitor that weather moving in later this evening and afternoon. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Edgecombe County.
And storms made driving conditions tricky for the evening commute. Video from the storm tracker yesterday shows how heavy the rain was in Chatham County. In Nash County, a viewer captured video of hail coming down as well. But it's not all bad. Check out this beautiful rainbow that showed up when the storms cleared. Police say a man is critically injured after a shooting in Raleigh. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows the scene on Collinton Road around 8:30 last night. Officers found a man who had been shot. As of this morning, nobody has been arrested. And just about an hour ago, a popular Raleigh restaurant reopened its doors 3 days after a shooting on Mother's Day. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is outside Big Ed's restaurant on Falls of Neuse Road. Kelsey, you saw customers actually go into the restaurant this morning.
Yes, Michelle, Big Ed's is now back in business. They're reopening their doors just 3 days after chaos broke out at the restaurant. Watch this. This cell phone video shows people running out of the building after a fight broke out that led to gunshots. Adrienne Barnes is scheduled to appear in court today. She's facing simple assault and accessory charges. Two other suspects, Alexander Barnes and Jermaine Mitchell, were in court yesterday. The assistant district attorney says Mitchell and his stepson Barnes got into a fight with Mitchell's ex-wife and her new husband. Mitchell is accused of throwing a chair. His stepson is accused of firing shots at the ground. 3 people were injured during that shooting. To keep you updated on what happens next in those cases. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And happening tonight, the city of Raleigh is inviting people to learn more about the future of the city's entertainment districts. It'll share a summary of the findings from the Sociable City Assessment. The study analyzed the strengths, the challenges, and the opportunities of the Fayetteville Street and Glenwood South districts. The event is from 6 to 8 tonight at the Chapel in Dix Park. And a new book is shedding light on the apparent mental decline Joe Biden was experiencing near the end of his presidency. The book by CNN's Jake Tapper and Axios' Alex Thompson describes situations where Biden seemed confused or disoriented. One example details Biden's inability to recognize actor George Clooney during a fundraiser that was hosted by the actor back in 2024. The fundraiser was less than 2 weeks before Biden's debate with President Trump. A month after the fundraiser, Clooney wrote an op-ed calling for Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. And today, home care leaders and organizations will gather in Raleigh to talk about the growing need for home-based care. More than 150 patients, people with disabilities, family, caregivers, and healthcare professionals, they all plan to meet at the Legislative Building. They plan to meet with lawmakers to talk about the need for funding to better support North Carolinians. They'll meet this morning at 9 o'clock. And in Wake County, you can give your input on how you want county leaders to invest in parks, greenways, and recreation spaces. The county is putting together a 10-year plan to invest in parks and rec projects. They want to hear from you on what kind of things you'd like to see in the future. A meeting is happening from 4:30 to 6:30 today at the New Hill Community Center. Well, time now is 8:08. Child services in question.
What kind of staffing crisis are they in? That is the first place my thought goes to.
The issues in Vance County that the State Department of Health and Human Services says has led to children being harmed. And falling behind, many people in North Carolina are struggling to pay off their credit cards. In the next half hour, 5 on Your Side digs into what's driving the growing problem.
And a few more showers starting to pop up on the radar. Just a little light rain across parts of the Sandhills into, say, Durham and Chapel Hill. I'll show you when we'll likely have another round of thunderstorms coming up. It's 8:12. Taking a look at dual Doppler 5000 radar. A couple of light rain showers starting to pop up again. We had a few of those here in Moore County earlier, starting to see a bit of that. And also around parts of Orange and Durham counties, you can see that lifting past Chapel Hill and over toward Durham. It's really light, but a lot of cloud cover hanging around. Here's a look at Chapel Hill. And no real indication that I can see on the cameras that any of that rainfall actually reached the ground. So a lot of it may have evaporated. It is a WRAL weather alert day. We'll have our best chance of storms in the afternoon and early evening. Wind damage will be the biggest threat, and that level 1 risk includes the entire viewing area. A few sprinkles this morning up until lunchtime, and then this afternoon it's a 70% chance of storms. Our temperatures this afternoon stay warm. Highs will be in the low 80s. Ken?
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, that crash we've been telling you about in I-40 westbound, really in the clearing phase. Right now, I see the Raleigh police officer just wrapping things up, and it's off to the shoulder of the road. And as you can see, traffic is beginning to get through. But either as a result of that, we're still seeing a lingering delay stretching all the way back to Hammond Road this morning. So if that's part of your commute, just know you'll be running into about a 2 to 3 minute delay if you're getting on the Beltline this morning.
Thank you, Ken. A child welfare services division in our area is being taken over by the state. In a letter, the Department of Health and Human Services says poor management and oversight within Vance County's DSS has led to children being harmed. The letter describes the lengths the state took to support Vance County's DSS, including putting the agency under a corrective action plan in July of 2024. But the state describes significant failures since then. That includes 40 existing cases identified as high risk, where no contact had been made with those families by Vance DSS staff. The co-chair of the state's Child Fatality Task Force, Karen McLeod, describes how serious it is to have the state take over.
That is significant. And as you are aware, it doesn't happen very often. So there has to be very significant deficiencies for that to take place.
And McLeod says smaller counties like Vance are at a disadvantage when it comes to hiring social workers because neighboring counties pay more. DHHS's letter directs a lot of its criticism at Vance DSS Director Sandy Weaver. For more on the letter, you can go to our website, WRAL.com. And this is happening after WRAL's documentary Broken Foster Care in North Carolina. In the documentary, we exposed major problems in the system. That QR code you're seeing on your screen will take you to the documentary. You can also go to WRAL.com. Capitol Police removed at least 25 protesters from a House committee hearing on a proposal to slash Medicaid spending. The protesters were wheeled out of the House Energy and Commerce meeting. They were protesting a Republican plan to cut $880 billion from programs over the next decade. In addition to Medicaid, it would cut from IRA funds and clean energy programs. It's part of President Donald Trump's sweeping tax and spending cuts agenda. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Weather Center. We have how do storms trigger migraines as our topic today, and ask the meteorologist. This is cool.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. And I remember back with Hurricane Irene, my older brother really feeling it as he tended to suffer from migraines, especially years ago. And a lot of you guys feel that too, even during this week's kind of stormy pattern. You've noticed the difference. Reason being is low pressure. Your storm systems are just areas of low pressure in which the air rises and it expands. Well, our fluids in between our joints, they kind of do the same thing when faced with low pressure. They expand and cause even more pain and discomfort. So this can pertain to things like migraines if you suffer from arthritis or fibromyalgia, or if you've had recent surgery, maybe have a metal plate, that can oftentimes cause a little bit more pain. Now, in terms of the air pressure, it's close to average right now. Takes a slight dip heading into tomorrow, and then we head into the weekend. I'll show you how that changes as we go from south to north. So folks who are closer to the U.S. and Canada border, they're going to feel it a little more. The air pressure drops even more up there, closer to the center of a storm system. Meanwhile, here it's a slight dip. So if you're especially sensitive to drops in air pressure, you may feel it ahead of Saturday. So that's what we're talking about in the full forecast with Elizabeth, followed by when the heat returns. It's coming up in just about 2 minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. There are new calls for the Trump administration to reverse federal workforce cuts so an investigation into NC State's Poe Hall can continue. Democratic Congresswoman Deborah Ross wrote a letter to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying, and quote, "Your reduction in force at this essential agency has put the health and safety of my constituents and workers nationwide at risk. The Health Hazard Evaluation, or HHE, of Poe Hall that was closed could have determined the potential effects of PCBs found in Poe Hall. It would not have required NC State to take any action." Kim Kardashian testified in Paris in the trial of the thieves accused of trying to rob her, tying her up and robbing her. The heist happened in 2015. Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint in her hotel room by a gang who stole millions of dollars in jewels. She cried as she recalled the attack. telling the court, "I absolutely thought I was going to die." Robbers got away with nearly $10 million worth of cash and jewelry. There are 10 defendants, 9 men and 1 woman. If convicted, some could get up to 30 years in prison. Well, May is Maternal Health Awareness Month, and data from the state DHHS shows Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. The Johnston County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta hosted a discussion to raise awareness about these disparities. They talked about how Black mothers can best advocate for themselves and for their families.
You know, the only way that positive change is going to happen in the area of maternal mortality is that we have communities that really understand the issue and are willing to speak out, to advocate for themselves and advocate for the birthing people in their communities.
And they suggest women research their providers before giving birth and know all of the options and resources available to them. A Wisconsin judge is facing federal charges after being accused of helping an undocumented immigrant escape ICE agents. Judge Hannah Dugan was indicted on charges of obstruction and concealing an individual from arrest. According to court documents, she confronted immigration agents who came to arrest a man in her courtroom last month. Witnesses say that she helped the man out through a jury door. Agents caught up with him outside and arrested him anyway. Well, 200 people, including about 150 students, were rescued from flooding at a Maryland elementary school. Crews in boats pulled the kids and adults out of second-story windows. A nearby creek rose more than 7 feet in 6 hours during a heavy rainstorm. First responders needed to make about 15 boat trips to get everyone out safely. And the cleanup continues in western North Carolina. Take a look at these photos here. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Wilmington District helped remove waterway debris in Ashe, Watauga, and Wilkes County this weekend. They say contractors removed more than 12,000 cubic yards of debris. The cleanup definitely coming a long way there, though, which is good news. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. She's tracking some rain again in our system today, Elizabeth.
Just a little bit of light patchy rain out there this morning. We're going to start off with dual Doppler 5000 radar. It's been pretty dry this morning, and even though we're seeing a few showers pop up here, it may be that very little of this is reaching the ground. But a couple of showers there across parts of Moore County down in the Sandhills, and then here in Orange and Durham counties as well. Just a little bit of light patchy rain. That's starting to lift on up into Person County as well. Of course, our biggest concern will be later this afternoon when we have the chance of some severe storms. Today is a WRAL weather alert day, as we have that chance later on this evening and tomorrow too, especially in the evening hours from the Triangle area northward. And we'll continue that chance of some showers and thunderstorms for Friday and Saturday as well. For today, our WRAL weather alert day, wind damage would be our biggest threat. Some hail is possible, as well as some isolated flooding. The tornado threat isn't completely zero, but it's not as high as it was yesterday and the day before when we had those tornadoes in Edgecombe County. Here's a look at Futurecast. We may see the clouds breaking up around lunchtime. If we do, that adds extra energy to the atmosphere, and that may bring us even more scattered storms. But right now, Futurecast is showing some of those developing between 2 and 3, and then lingering during the evening commute, gradually starting to push out around 9 or 10 out of our eastern counties with maybe a lingering cell behind it. The pattern remains the same, though. One thing that does change is we get a high pressure system pushing hotter, more moist air into the region. Again, that gives us more energy for a chance for storms. And we also have some strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere that will help that out. Notice Friday at 5 o'clock, maybe a small chance for a shower or thunderstorm. And then again, it's not a zero chance there on Saturday as well. The models are not in complete agreement about our chances for storms on Friday and Saturday, but certainly I think we can just assume that there might be that chance. The highest chance today at 70%. And then after that, almost every afternoon, it looks like maybe Sunday could be the driest day that we see of the next 5 or 6. We still have the chance overall for the next several days of anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain. What does that mean for your weekend plans? We put the yellow light on Saturday. It's not going to be a terrible day, just a few scattered storms possible. So keep checking in with us about the timeline for Saturday. And right now, Sunday looks a little bit cooler and not as humid, but you know how things change. It is just a Wednesday, so keep checking back for those weekend plans. Today's a WRAL weather alert day. The big change that we see tomorrow, as well as Friday and Saturday, is the heat. Highs will be in the low 90s, and the humidity goes up too, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 8:22, listen, that fog is really beginning to lift, and as we isolate the Beltline, that crash we've been telling you about on I-40 westbound near South Saunders is actually cleared. We still see the icon, but we're still seeing some lingering delays on the southern loop of the Beltline, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline as well. I know many of you use I-540 as an alternate route this morning. Right now, you're looking at a 7-minute delay if you get on Lewisburg Road and if you want to make it to I-40. But by the time you get to Falls of Neuse Road and even Creedmoor Road, it's clear sailing all the way to I-40 this morning. Here's what it looks like on that southern loop of the Beltline. You can see the slow-moving traffic that I just mentioned as a result of the lingering delays from that crash that just recently cleared. The northern loop, things have gotten a lot better. Congestion has definitely eased. If you're on one of these major routes coming into the capital city, here's what you're looking at. You're looking at an 8-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest and a 6-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Focused on football.
I'm glad people are excited, but really just focused more on the product and delivering.
Bill Belichick speaks with WRAL about how he's preparing for his first season as UNC's head coach, how he's responding to questions about what's happening off the field.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Happy Wednesday. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner here now to walk us through another WRAL Weather Alert Day.
This afternoon, we have the chance for scattered storms between, say, 2 and 10 o'clock. That will be our best chance. Damaging winds, some large hail across our entire viewing area. Very similar to the same pattern we saw yesterday. What we're seeing right now is a lot of cloud cover. A couple of sprinkles down here across parts of Moore County, as well as Orange and Durham counties, actually moving on up toward Mecklenburg County, Virginia. So some of our western counties seeing a few sprinkles. We do have a 20% chance of rain in there for this morning. This afternoon, it goes up to a 70% chance, and temperatures will climb into the low 80s. Ken?
Elizabeth, happening now, all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We got a situation in northern Durham County on I-85. We are told that a crash is blocking at least one lane in those southbound lanes. So if you have friends or family coming in on 85 this morning, coming into Durham, as we widen out the view, you might want to tell them to take Creedmoor Road as an alternate route. It's a 2-lane road, but at least it'll avoid what's happening there on I-85 South. I'll have an update on your morning commute at the bottom of the hour over at Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. People in Edgecombe County cleaning up after 3 confirmed tornadoes in a 12-hour span. The first touchdown in Princeville around 5 p.m. Monday. Then yesterday morning, 1 touchdown in Macclesfield around 3:30. Another came down in Pine Tops around 3:40. No injuries were reported. And police say a man is critically injured after a shooting in Raleigh. It happened on Collinton Road around 8:30 last night. When police got there, they found a man who had been shot. As of this morning, nobody has been arrested. Next on Fox 50, why many North Carolinians are struggling to pay their credit card bills. And up next, a Today exclusive, the 2025 Best Over-the-Counter Medicine Health Products.
Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We'll likely have another round of thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. I'll show you the timeline and what to expect.
And 3 tornadoes in 12 hours. People in Edgecombe County preparing for another round of storms today. The cleanup underway after a week of destructive weather. And Big Ed's back open this morning. A popular Raleigh restaurant open after a shooting on Mother's Day. The new charges filed in this investigation. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 50. Time now is 8:30. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Hope you all are having a great start to your day. A little gray out there, and we're expecting more rain on the way. It's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner walks us through what we can expect.
It's gray out there right now with a few sprinkles, but later on this afternoon, we'll likely have a few breaks in the clouds that could re-energize the atmosphere. And between around 2 to 10 o'clock, we could see the chance for some storms that produce damaging wind. We've had a lot of rain, radar estimates of 2 to 5 inches of rain in the last several days. So the ground saturated trees can fall a little bit easier. Quarter-size hail is possible. And of course, this covers the entire viewing area. A couple sprinkles, light showers down here across the Sandhills, and then in some of our northern counties as well, from Durham northward along the I-85 corridor up toward Virginia. A couple sprinkles showing up there this morning, but a better chance for storms again after lunchtime. This is 2 to 3 o'clock with some cells developing. Some rain will be heavier, so even some isolated flooding is possible. Those cells start to move on out of the viewing area around 7 or 8 o'clock, but there might still be a few lingering issues even behind that. Lots of gray skies out there across the viewing area. We started with some low cloud cover and fog this morning. 67 is our current temperature, the dew point 64, so it's real warm and muggy. It feels tropical as you're heading out the door. It'll be warm like yesterday with highs in the low 80s. But starting tomorrow, our temperatures climb significantly along with the humidity. I'll show you when the summer heat returns coming up. Ken?
All right, at 8:31, Elizabeth, all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, we got something brewing in northern Durham County. There's a crash closing at least one right lane on I-85 in the southbound lane near Red Mill Road. Let's take you out and show you what we're talking about. Courtesy of our live cam network, you see the State Highway Patrol trooper right there, and you can see the crash closing. That one lane traffic is really snaking through, if you will. As we get back to our live traffic map, we widen out the view. The best alternate route I can come up with is Creedmoor Road. Yeah, it's a two-lane road, but at least it is a situation where you'll avoid what's happening there on those southbound lanes. If you have friends or family coming in, you might want to tell them to take that exit to Creedmoor Road as well. Other routes coming into the capital city right now, you're looking at a 9-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. Over in the Bull City, really very little to no delays, nothing that's going to make you late. We do want to isolate I-885 because this is a busy route in and out of Durham this morning. If you're heading in those northbound lanes heading into Durham, you're just looking at a 4-minute delay, just a couple of minutes if you're using 885 to get to I-40 this morning. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thank you, Ken. As we prepare for more storms later today, people in Edgecombe County are cleaning up after 3 confirmed tornadoes in a 12-hour span. WRAL's Laura Levine returned to Pine Tops for a look at the recovery.
Today, there is still a lot of damage and debris that remains. Right now, we're standing on Old Wilson Road where you can see this fairly large tree that toppled over some vehicles, now chopped up into several different pieces here. People who were mostly impacted by this tornado say that, well, they do have a little road to recovery that's underway. Here's a look at some of the crews cleaning up tree debris yesterday as they got a better scope of the damage from the tornado here in Pine Tops. Between Monday and yesterday morning, Edgecombe County saw 3 different EF1 tornadoes, according to the National Weather Service. With more storms on the way, there is some concern about the already saturated ground, coupled with high winds and rain that could bring down more trees, causing additional damage. Meanwhile, some people are still reliving the scary moments of that latest twister that touched down.
When the first alarm went off, I sad to say, I kind of ignored it a little bit. The second one went off. I went and grabbed my son, and my house is not set up somewhere where I can actually hide, so I panicked.
And here on Old Wilson Road, crews are expected to return later today to finish the cleanup in this area. WRAL will continue to monitor the weather moving into Edgecombe County later this afternoon and evening. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Pine Tops.
And storms made driving conditions tricky for the evening commute. Video from the WRAL Storm Tracker yesterday shows how heavy the rain was in Chatham County. In Nash County, a viewer captured video of hail coming down as well. You see it here. It's not all bad, though. Check this out. A beautiful rainbow that showed up when all of the storms cleared. Police say a man is critically injured after a shooting in Raleigh. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows the scene on Collinton Road around 8:30 last night. When police got there, they found the man who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital. As of this morning, no one has been arrested. And at 7 o'clock this morning, a popular Raleigh restaurant reopened 3 days after a shooting on Mother's Day. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Big Ed's restaurant on Falls of Neuse Road. Kelsey, one of the people arrested in the case will appear in court today.
Yes, Michelle, Big Ed's is now back in business. They're opening their doors again just 3 days after chaos broke out at the restaurant. Watch this.
This cell phone video shows people running out of the building after a fight broke out that led to gunshots. Adrienne Barnes is scheduled to appear in court today. She's facing simple assault and accessory charges. 2 other suspects, Alexander Barnes and Jermaine Mitchell, were in court yesterday. The assistant district attorney says Mitchell and his stepson Barnes got into a fight with Mitchell's ex-wife and her new husband. Mitchell is accused of throwing a chair. His stepson is accused of firing shots at the ground. 3 people were injured during that shooting.
We'll be sure to keep you updated on what happens next in those cases. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A special education teacher at a Carver Elementary in Wendell is expected to appear in court today. He's accused of abusing several disabled students. Scott Schwartzfager is facing 10 charges, 2 for each victim. According to LinkedIn, he has worked as a special ed teacher for more than 5 years. Investigators say the youngest victim is 5 years old. The oldest is 10. Carver Elementary School principal Winitra Merritt sent a letter to parents saying that Schwartzfager is suspended while the district investigates. WRAL did reach out to Carver Elementary asking for comment. We were hung up on. And covering Wayne County, we'll get more information today about new economic developments coming to the county. Governor Josh Stein plans to join business leaders and local officials this morning in Goldsboro. He'll make an announcement about the development, though few details have been shared in advance. That announcement expected at 10 o'clock this morning. Flash flooding in Pennsylvania forcing people to evacuate their homes. This is video from about 75 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. You can see people escaping through knee-deep water. An emergency shelter was set up to help people who had to leave their homes. No injuries have been reported. A Cary family says this doorbell footage at their home unsettling. It shows what appears to be a teenager covering the camera lens with his hand and then just walking inside the house. The home on Preston Retreat Lane is for sale. The family believes the intruder used an access code for realtors to unlock the front door and get inside. Separate footage shows another attempt, only this time the family had changed the code. A relative who did not want to be identified tells WRAL the code was shared with more than 10 realtors who showed the home to prospective buyers.
About how they obtained the code. This should not have happened, and I feel like there's certainly a connection to someone who had access or was given authorization to be in the house.
Cary police say nothing was taken. Investigators are trying to identify the person or people in the video.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. Not long from now, Cassie Ventura will take the stand once again, the second day of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Cassie Ventura, 10 years, the girlfriend of Combs, and testifying yesterday, emotional at times, crying on the stand, saying she described a complicated, abusive relationship of 10 years when she was 21 years old. Now, Ventura told jurors that Combs controlled most of her life, going on to call him a scary person. She said Combs was physically and sexually abusive. Combs is charged with 5 counts, including sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty. That trial starts up once again about a half hour.
All right, Jeff, thank you. In his first interview with a local TV station since being introduced as head coach, Bill Belichick tells WRAL he is focused on the football season. The new UNC head coach is at the ACC meetings in Florida this week. His girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has been making headlines for being difficult to work with. It's not exactly the attention UNC was hoping Belichick would bring to the program, but not something that Belichick feels is a distraction either.
I wasn't really focused on that, Brian. It was more just to come in and, try to work with Mike Lombardi and our staff and try to put together a good team and a good program, and represent the school well on the football field.
Belichick says that he has been taking a back seat this week, letting more experienced college coaches like Dabo Swinney lead the way in the meetings. And you can find the full unedited interview on WRAL.com/Bill. Path to freedom. After 35 years behind bars, the Menendez brothers have been resentenced. The next steps before they could be released from prison. Plus, past due on payments, a jump in the number of North Carolinians behind on their credit card payments. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur takes a look at what's driving the problem. And this is a live look at Sanford. It is the 3rd WRAL weather alert day in a row. Sunny now, but that'll change later. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will show you the risk level for storms.
844, a little bit of activity showing up here on Dual Doppler 5000 radar, especially back to our west. We've had a few sprinkles pop up in some of our western counties, including Durham and Orange County. And now look up near South Hill, Virginia, up into Mecklenburg County. A couple little cells starting to pop up. Most of this isn't going to really amount to anything until much later this afternoon after lunchtime or so. But don't be surprised if there's a quick sprinkle, especially down here in Moore County. We've seen some of that on the radar. Notice that people are out playing golf, a little bit of blue sky breaking out. So again, nothing to be concerned about just yet. But it is a WRAL weather alert day. This afternoon and evening, we'll have the potential for some strong storms. They'll be isolated, some localized wind damage, maybe a little bit of hail like we saw yesterday. The chance goes up considerably once we get past 2 or 3 o'clock, up to around 70%, and our highs will be in the low 80s. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, new information now into the WRAL Traffic Center. That crash that we just told you about in northern Durham County on I-85 near Red Mill Road just cleared in the last couple of minutes. You can see the remnants of that crash right there, but we're still seeing some lingering delays there on those southbound lanes of I-85 as a result of that crash. So I'll keep an eye on that and let you know what's going to happen and have an update at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Ken. After spending 35 years in prison for their murder of their parents, Lyle and Eric Menendez are now eligible for parole. A Los Angeles judge resentenced the brothers to 50 years to life yesterday. It's a ruling which makes them immediately eligible for parole. The state's parole board will still have to find them suitable for release, and that process is subject to review by California Governor Gavin Newsom. The number of people in North Carolina past due on their credit cards is up sharply. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur dug through the report that shows how many people are struggling just to make minimum payments.
For years, we've been tracking inflation and higher prices, and this report shows the significant effect that's had on families in our area. A study by Urban Institute shows nearly 307,000 people in North Carolina are delinquent or at least 60 days past due on their credit card bills. That's a 37% increase over the last 2.5 years. The study indicates part of what's driving this problem is the rising cost of food. Adam Rust with the Consumer Federation of America says for some, when prices go up, it becomes a matter of whether they pay their credit card bill or put food on the table.
That's really a household that's gone from maybe they could make the minimum payment. They were living paycheck to paycheck. They were starting to struggle. Now they're in that emergency mode where they can't even make a minimum payment.
Tonight on WRAL News at 6, the factors Russ says will continue making it hard for families to catch up on their credit card payments. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
This morning, a groundbreaking ceremony is happening for an expansion at Cape Fear Valley Health in Fayetteville. The hospital is expanding its first Adventures Child Development Center. The center provides child care for children of employees. By the time the expansion is complete, it'll be the largest child care facility in Cumberland County. The groundbreaking ceremony is happening this morning at 10 o'clock. Our teacher of the week is a former military wife who has taught all over the world, but the last 21 years have been in Wake County. WRAL's Ken Smith is at Wiley Magnet Elementary to show us why this recognition was extra special.
Miss Price, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. We surprised Margaret Price on her birthday right after her students serenaded her in their foreign language class. It was clear she is a beloved teacher.
It's just all the love and appreciation that students have shown me is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Back in her 5th grade classroom, we learned Miss Price's goal is simple, to help her students achieve theirs.
Anyone else have an opinion?
Ms. Price's disciplined approach to teaching instills confidence in her students, which translates into every aspect of their learning.
And when they tell me, I like reading, Ms. Price, I didn't like it, but now I love reading. And I think those are the things that bring you back and you feel like you've progressed with them.
Ms. Price says hearing from some of her former students sometimes gives her quite a laugh.
I'm graduating, Miss Price, from, high school? No, college.
Well, the laughter, the cherished moments, all numbered. Miss Price is about to retire after this school year with a world of memories and classrooms full of success stories. Ken Smith, WRAL News.
If you would like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box. Well, if you need to renew your driver's license soon, you would get a 2-year break under a bill moving through the state house this week. The bill passed a key committee. It would give every driver's license holder an additional 2-year grace period after the license expires. The bill's sponsor is Republican Representative Jay Adams. He says it's a response to the problems at the DMV, though it is not a solution.
What this does is this simply gives the citizens of North Carolina some relief from the fact that they can't renew their licenses. And it does also relieve the burden on DMV so that they can sort out their issues.
Adams says that you should still get your license renewed as soon as you can. Otherwise, it could lead to a ticket in a neighboring state or cause problems for other uses like renting a car. The measure should get a vote in the state house in the coming days. Dozens of people came out to see some sea turtles being released into the ocean on the North Carolina coast. The Karen Beasley Sea Turtle Rescue released 12 green turtles and 3 loggerhead turtles back into the wild in Surf City this week. They say the turtles were stranded in December and January, suffering from cold stunning. Several of them also had injuries from predators. Hospital Director Terry Meyer says it's possible you may come across an injured sea turtle this summer. If you do, contact the Karen Beasley Sea Turtle Hospital. We love to see them going back into the ocean. That is so cute. All right, let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, tracking our next weather maker, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so we continue to have this pattern of scattered thunderstorms across our area. Notice we've seen some of that down here into Georgia, sliding into South Carolina. So as we get into the afternoon, we'll get into a better chance of storms. But this morning, we've had just a couple of showers start to pop up. Most of those are back to our west around Charlotte, Salisbury, and the Triad, but we're beginning to see a little bit of that in our viewing area, especially down here in the Sandhills from, say, Vass and Carthage up to Sanford. And then in both Orange and Durham counties, we had a few showers a few minutes ago, or at least about 30 minutes or so ago. Notice up here in Mecklenburg County, Virginia, some of those cells are starting to grow a little bit. You can see some of those darker red shaded areas. And then along the I-85 corridor, just a little bit of light patchy rain around Oxford and Henderson and north of Franklin County. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms. Damaging wind would be our biggest threat, the isolated tornadoes, but not as high a threat as what we saw yesterday and the day before. Some hail is possible, and of course, it's for the entire viewing area. What does level 1 mean? It's the lowest of the levels, and it just means isolated severe storms are possible. We shouldn't see a whole lot of severe weather, but maybe 1 or 2, 3 cells could pop up and produce some severe storms. By lunchtime, we should have a few breaks in the clouds, and that could re-energize the atmosphere enough for those cells to start popping up between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of those lingering into the evening commute, especially in our eastern counties. There was 7 o'clock. By 8 or 9, that should be moving on out, but there could still be a few lingering cells in some spots. In Raleigh right now, we're looking at mainly cloudy skies. It's warm. It's muggy out there. Currently 67 degrees, and our dew point 64. That's pretty high. Our visibility is improving considerably. We had some fog this morning, but for the most part, that is all done. Temperatures are in the 60s to 70s. Look at that, 70 in Clinton and Goldsboro right now. Our cool spot is Roxboro at 61. Around the Triangle, we're mostly in the mid-60s, 65 Holly Springs, 66 in Apex and in Cary. The heat is on starting tomorrow, 90 degrees, 93 Friday, 90 on Saturday compared to low 80s today. And not only will it be hotter, but we're also looking at the potential for a big jump in our humidity as well. Still a chance of an isolated thunderstorm for the next few days. I'll show you how much rain we could see total coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you so much. Check out the beautiful clouds behind me. Rain is on the way, though. Before we go to break, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.